My parents didn't want children at their Christmas party, including my son. But when I arrived at their house, I saw my sister's 3 kids running around. They said those children deserved to be there. That was the moment I decided to cut off their financial support. I never thought I'd be a widow at 34, but here I am, Dakota, sitting at my kitchen table at 7 a.m., trying to get my 7-year-old son, Tommy, ready for school while fighting back tears. It's been months since the accident at the construction site took Mark from us, but sometimes it feels like yesterday. The first few months after Mark's death were a blur of paperwork, tears, and sleepless nights. I honestly don't know how I would have made it through without Sarah and Jim, my in-laws. They've been absolute angels, picking Tommy up from school every day so I can focus on work. I stop by their place afterward to get him, and every single time, they try to give me money. "Sarah, really, I can't take this," I said last week, pushing back the envelope she tried to slip into my purse. "Dakota, sweetie, we want to help," she insisted, her kind eyes meeting mine. "We know the insurance company paid well, but your family. Let us do this." She's right about the insurance. The company paid out $300,000 after Mark's death. Between that and my job as a marketing manager, we're doing okay financially. But it's not about the money with Sarah and Jim. It's about the love they show us every day. If only my own parents were half as supportive. Mom and Dad have always made it clear that my older sister, Rachel, was their golden child, and now they extend that same favoritism to her kids over Tommy. Last weekend was typical. Tommy was excited to see his grandparents, but within 20 minutes, Mom was complaining about his questions. "Why does the clock make that sound?" Tommy asked, pointing to their antique grandfather clock. "How does it work inside?" "Dakota, can't you control him?" Mom sighed, rolling her eyes. "He's always asking questions about everything. Rachel's kids never give us this much trouble." Dad nodded in agreement, reaching for his laptop. "Here, Tommy, why don't you play some games instead?" "Look, I downloaded some new ones." But Tommy didn't want games. He wanted to talk, to learn, to connect. Meanwhile, Rachel's 3 kids sat in the corner, completely absorbed in their phones, barely acknowledging anyone's presence. And yet, my parents held them up as the ideal. I've learned to bite my tongue. Growing up as the less favored child, I got used to these comparisons long ago. At least they occasionally helped with Tommy, watching him when I had late meetings or picking him up if both Sarah and Jim were busy. Then came the dinner that changed everything. It was supposed to be just another Tuesday dinner at my parents' house. The warning signs were there from the moment I walked in. Mom had made my favorite lasagna, which she usually only did when she wanted something. Dad was unusually chatty, asking about work, about Tommy, about everything, really. They were building up to something. I just didn't know what. "So, Dakota," Mom said carefully, cutting her lasagna into perfect squares. "We've been meaning to ask you something. How much was Mark's life insurance payout?" The question hit me like a slap in the face. I nearly choked on my water, blindsided by such a direct inquiry about something so personal. Maybe it was the shock, or maybe I was just tired of keeping secrets from my parents, but I answered honestly. "About $300,000, I said quietly. Mom's fork clattered against her plate. Dad's head snapped up so fast I thought he might hurt himself. They stared at me like I'd just announced I'd won the lottery. "Well," Mom said, putting down her fork deliberately, "what are you planning to do with all that money?" "I've invested it," I explained, trying to keep my voice steady. "It's for Tommy's future, his college education, maybe helping him buy an apartment when he's older. Mark and I always talked about. But that's years away." Dad interrupted, waving his hand dismissively. "You should be thinking about the present, Dakota. About yourself and your family." The way he said family made it clear he wasn't talking about Tommy. Mom leaned forward eagerly. "You could do so much with that money now. You could help your family, people who need it today." "I'm not discussing my money anymore." I cut her off, my voice sharper than I intended. The silence that followed was deafening. I thought that would be the end of it. But a week later, Mom called. "We're having a family dinner on Sunday," she announced, her voice warm as if nothing had happened. "Rachel and the kids will be there too. You have to come, sweetie." Something about her tone made me uneasy, but I agreed. When I arrived that Sunday, Rachel was already there with her kids, all of them glued to their phones as usual. Then she started talking about rising prices, bills piling up, how hard it was to make ends meet. "I've been thinking," Rachel announced, looking around the table with that same self-righteous expression she'd worn since we were kids. "Dakota and I should help Mom and Dad financially. I'll send them $500 every month. I wish I could do more, but you know how it is. Jack's the only one working and with kids." Then she turned to me with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "But you, Dakota, you should send them $1,000 monthly." I nearly choked. "Excuse me," Rachel pressed on. "It makes sense. You earn well at your job, and you only have one child to support. Plus, with your situation, you have other income now." My blood boiled at her careful avoidance of mentioning Mark's death directly. I wanted to scream, but Mom was already clapping her hands in delight. That night, I made a decision. I would no longer be sending my parents money. And when Christmas came and they told me it was an adults-only party, only for me to arrive and find every other child in the family except Tommy, I knew I had made the right choice. I stood in the doorway, the reality sinking in. My mother didn't even try to hide it. Those children deserved to be here. That was it. That was the moment I decided to walk away for good. And as I spent Christmas with Sarah, Jim, and Tommy, people who truly loved and valued us, I realized I'd finally found the family we deserved.